So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the market crash that has occurred because of the first weekend league.
Over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. Now I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs, and now for the last 4 years I've made 10 million coins in just the first month.
So what we're going to be doing in today's video is we are going to be talking about the market crash that happens. So what we're going to be doing in today's video is we're going to be talking about the market crash that has happened in the first week of FIFA. We're going to be talking a little bit about when you can buy your teams. We're going to be talking about the current trends, the future trends, and the sort of players you guys can buy to avoid the market crash. Now, the market crash that happened this week was kind of very, very extreme. It was also extremely unpredictable if we look at previous trends, and actually we look at the trends that happened earlier in the year. So for some cards it was actually quite predictable. So if we go look at something like Angel Correa, we know that on the first weekend league was on the 7th of October on Friday. So cards like Correa, what happened again? They went from 21k, first weekend league occurred, and they went down to 5k. The exact same sort of thing has happened this week, where Correa before weekend league was 13k, and now he's 4.5k. Now this traditionally happens because in weekend league you've got three different sort of cards. You've got your, let's say you've got your 20k cards, you've got your 100k cards, and you've got your 500k cards. Now traditionally what happens is they kind of like hold going into weekend league, and then people pack and they go down. Then traditionally with the 100k cards what happens is you go into weekend league and they drop, but they only drop slightly, it's nothing crazy. And then you go onto your 500k cards, and what happens is they rise weekend league and they just keep rising. Now the reason for this is because it kind of works in a tier system. Over weekend league cards are packed, and because cards are packed, people have more coins. People have more coins, so what they basically do is they climb the ladder. So what this basically does is I go and play my weekend league, I go and pack a bunch of 20k players, and as a result the 20k players go down in price because they're packed. Well, what I do is I sell them and I climb up the ladder. It's a theoretical ladder. And because I climb up the ladder, what I'm now doing is I'm selling 20k players, so 20k players are going down, and I'm buying 100k players, which means the demand for 100k players goes up. Well, also what happens is people have 100k players, and what they do is they pack the 100k players and they climb up the ladder. They climb up the ladder to the 500k players. And again, these are people who already have like 100, 200k players in their team. They'll go and pack a few 100k's worth of stuff, and then they'll climb up to the 500k. What this does is this increases the supply, which makes 100k players go down, but it makes 500k players go up. And nobody packs 500k players in weekend league. So what you can see right here is we can see that 20k players are not being bought by anyone. They're being packed by, by people in weekend league, but they're not being bought. We can also see that 100k players are both being bought by people who've upgraded from 20k players, but they're also being sold by people who've packed 100k players. We can see that 500k players are only being bought. This is why we have three completely different trends. 20k players only go down, no one's upgrading to 20k players. 100k players are even, because some are being upgraded, some are upgrading to 100k players, some are selling 100k players. And then we've got 500k players, which no one is packing but people are upgrading to. I can show you this trend last year if we look at something like Varane. I showed you the buy Varane, but if we go and look what happened on Saturday, they rose over the weekend. But because he's only cheap, he didn't rise much over the weekend. But then Vinicius Jr., who actually did drop till Sunday, but not that high of a percentage, but he rose over the weekend. This trend is more common right here, where we look at the following weekend league, whether he just kept rising. We can also do this with Varane, where we can see the following weekend league he just kept dropping because he's so cheap. I can also go and do this with Neymar from last year. We can see in the first weekend league, if we can grab him right here, the first weekend league, he actually dropped slightly, but he rose a little bit after. But it's the following weekend league where he just rose and rose and rose. So this shows you the split of players, where 500k players basically just kept rising. 200k players rose, okayly, but some of them were kind of more holding them rising. And then the cheap players like Varane just basically rebounded but kept dropping. And that's where the three trends here occur. So the good thing with last year was that give or take everything rebounded Friday to the Saturday to the Sunday, the Sunday to the Monday. Nearly everything. That didn't occur this year. Now the cheap, very cheap players follow the same trend. They were 20k, they crashed to 5k. Correa, was 15k, crashed to 20k. That didn't surprise me, because all weekend I've been saying people are going to do this, no one's buying Correa, everyone's packing him and they're selling him, which is what occurred. But what is very worrying is that let's say that trend, correct, 100k trend, again, we look at last year, we didn't really see a drop, we saw a rebound over the weekend. Well, what happened this year? Well, I can actually go and grab Varane's card this year. So on the Friday, if I can go and grab last year, he was 60k. Yes, he dropped to 55k, so he dropped 10%. But then between the Saturday to the Sunday, he rebounded very, very slightly. Well, what happened this year? Well, if we go look, the Friday to the Saturday, the card is down 10%. And we're already on the Saturday to the Sunday, and the card is down another 5%. It is looking extremely unlikely that where last year the card went up 2-3%, that the card is going to rebound. And this is even more worrying when we look at when we look at more expensive players. So the likes of Vinicius Jr. again, between the Friday and the Saturday, he dropped, if anything, maybe 5%. Did actually have a small drop Saturday to Sunday, again another 5%. But then he looked to rebound. Well, how's Marcus Rashford looking this year? Friday to the Saturday, down 20%. And then Saturday and Sunday seems to be holding a little bit at the moment. We can then go look at even more expensive cards of Neymar last year again. We look to the Friday to the Saturday, or I guess the Thursday to the Friday, he was down 10%. Then the Friday to the Saturday, he went down 5%. He did go down 5% the following day, but remember, it's just 10% and 5%. So if we go and look at Mbappe last year, a very top-end card, we can see between the Friday and the Saturday, the card only went down 5%. Well, the worry this year is if we look at between the Friday and the Saturday this year, the card went down over 10%. And then if we look between yesterday and today, he's down yet another 30k, in which he would have, if I'm not wrong, started rebounding as of the Sunday. Yeah, Sunday was the low point, and then they rebounded. Went down another 5% on the Saturday. So we are to an extent seeing last year's trends, as in the more expensive players, the less they're dropping. But we're not really seeing any sort of rise, and we're not really seeing any sort of promising signs of rebounding, because the percentages that these cards are dropping in comparison to last year. Yeah, it's just basically it's not very good, because what this basically means is that across the board there is just an increase in supply of an increase in demand, which means that nothing will rebound. As long as stuff can get supplied, nothing will rebound. It will just keep going down and down and down and down, unless for some reason packs aren't going to get opened. So maybe if we had a rubbish promo next week, packs aren't going to get opened. So as a result, how do we counter this trend? Well, the answer is not to own cards that are in packs. Because even though I can show you right there that a lot of the market was going down, what we can do is we can show you last week's road to the knockout stages. I can grab a Pender, I can grab Kalulu, I can grab Bruno Fernandes, I can go and grab Saka, I can go and grab Dodo, I can go and grab Diaz. So in a market that is crashing, just like a waterfall, look at these cards here. We've got Friday, we've got the likes of a Pender 190, already rebounded to 200. Kalulu on Friday 145, already rebounded 175. Bruno, who got down to 389, he's held his value and would basically be covering tax at 410. Saka, who Friday averaged 700, he is down in price, but if you compare that to gold cards of his price, it is not bad whatsoever. Then we've got Diaz, 669, 686. So the reason that these cards are not crashing like other cards is because there is no increase in supply. There is only increase in demand. And because there's only increase in demand, the cards basically go up and up and up until they get replaced, at which there is a decrease in demand. Now this also to an extent happened to the gold cards. The gold cards also got a little bit panic sold with the likes of the gold cards getting, like the rest of the gold cards dropping. If we go and compare someone like Dembele was 203k on the Friday, and if we go and look at Rashford, who was 203k on the Friday, if I have a Rashford up, which I believe I do, we can see that Rashford was 220. He's gone and dropped 90k. We look at Dembele, who was 203. He's dropped, if anything, like 8k. So the way to, and the reason for this again is there's been no increase in supply. There is only, in theory, been increase in demand. There was panic selling, which would have decreased demand initially, but he has rebounded said panic selling. So yeah, these are the cards you can go and buy. You can go and buy previous team of the weeks, because again, if I go and look at previous team of the weeks, if I'm not wrong, they should have held their value. Well, problem is I know Son didn't really hold his value. We can go and grab Sal, Kante, Cancelo, Mitoma. Sal, again, we look at what he was on the Friday, 44, still 45. You compare that to a gold card who was 44, they're 3k if you're lucky. Kante did drop from 85 to 80, but that's because he's Saudi League and he actually doesn't stay in people's teams very easily. Mitoma held his value, and that is all she wrote. So if you want to go and buy stuff, and buy stuff for your team, you cannot go and buy gold cards without losing coins. And the reason for this is, again, these cards, even worse than previous years, are just in more supply than demand. The only stuff you can buy is stuff that will not have an increase in supply. So for example, Road to Knockout Stage Team 2. You can go and buy these players either on the Thursday evening, or you can gamble on panic selling on Friday, which I can't guarantee because we don't know how good the promo is. And these cards will hold their value out of packs. You can go and buy Team of the Week 3, and I would say you can go and buy these just before 6 PM on Sunday. And these players might drop from Wednesday, but do you know what? In comparison to gold cards of their price equivalent, they're not going to be bad. Yeah, I mean, the problem is you can't even really use heroes, because heroes nowadays, if I'm not wrong, yeah, these are just an extension of gold cards. They're a gold card with a cosmetic item. Like Beasley has dropped, not as bad, don't get me wrong, compared to a gold card that's, no he has actually. Like previously him being down, what's that? Down 15k for a 100k play. It's not as bad as gold cards, but these don't hold, because in reality these cards are packed as much as gold cards are their value. Trezeguet was again previously 105, now he's down at 95. So, icons and heroes are not any safer than gold cards. That's about it really. Welcome to the apocalypse of the market. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Gold cards are not really going to hold. Gold cards are the only gold cards that are good are gold cards who are going to get a team of the week because they're out of packs. Gold cards who are going to get a promo card because they're out of packs. And promo cards. That is about all she wrote. Di Maria and Link Investments did very well. So in the future, if we think there's going to be a highly desired minor league player, do make sure to look at minor league links. But that's all she wrote. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.